Hello and welcome back. I will show you an AngularJS application and how we can tune it to become live editable using fb-flo. This is the code we are interested in. So we have a ng controller defined. We have on the ng controller something called items, which represent the collection of the to-do list items. We have a button that when clicked will add a to-do, and then we have an unordered list in which the items are being shown by their name. This is the JavaScript file for our app. What it does is it initializes the Angular module to do app. It creates the controller. It creates the items collection, which are basically the to-do list items. It also has the ng-click action, which is add to-do, which prompts for you to insert a new to-do, and if you insert it, it will be pushed to the scope items. And then it's bootstrap on the element called to-do app from the HTML. Let's see how this works in a browser. This is our app running in a browser. We see we have currently no to-dos. We can click one, for example, pick up the package, buy something. Now we want to see how this can be made live editable. This is the Flow.js file we've seen earlier. We will open the terminal. We will start Flow. We will start the DevTools. It's connected. And let's start playing. For example, first thing I might try to do is add something here. You see it will not work because it cannot replace the HTML fragments. It just replaces JavaScript files and CSS files. Changing all the HTML may be not such a good idea because it may override a lot of modifications done by the JavaScript to the page. Okay, so we can't modify this. Let's see what else we can't modify. Let's say for example we would like to initialize the items with some initial data. For example, name initial to do done true. We saved, nothing changed again. What we could actually do with live editing at the moment is something inside that function. You know, I told you before that when a JavaScript file is being changed, the functions are the ones that get to update their code because they will be executed again. So for example, right now you see it tells you please enter your to-do. If I'm going here and change the text like, hey, put your to-do here and save, when I will click it, I will see the new text. So basically, I can change everything which is in callback functions, such as click events, set timeouts, and something, but everything else is out of my control. I can't tell him what the initial data should be. I can't change the HTML over here. I can't do anything else which is unrelated to events. fb-flo throws an event whenever a resource has been modified. So we can use the following code at the end of our JavaScript file to write in our console data about that event. Let's see what happens. I will refresh the page, and now every time I'll modify something, for example, I'll put a space here, I'll get in the console an event telling me that todo-app.js has been modified. What I will do with this event is whenever something changes, I will make sure that I will destroy and reinitialize my app. First of all, we need to make it in such a way that it can be easy to destroy and to reinitialize. In order to do that, we need to encapsulate the whole app into a function called todo-app. We will copy and paste this code from here to here. Of course, we will replace the todo-app from here and from here. You see, anytime we save, we will get these events. We will use them later. Okay, so we need to take care of the HTML template as well. As you can see here, it's quite a lot of templates. So there are two ways we can do this. First of all, I can take all of this from here and make a file called todo-app.html. I'll put it here. And then in index.js, I will use ng include resources to do app.html like this, and put it in an HTML inline template over here. We will of course need to escape these single quotes, and after that we need to make sure we create an element based on it. So we'll create the app element, which will be jQuery of HTML, and then we will append it to the body. And then when we will initialize and bootstrap the application, we will not need to select an element from the page because we already have it, and we will pass it like this. So what our function will do now is create the module, create a controller, create the HTML, include the to-do app HTML from here, create the element in the page, append it to the body, and then bootstrap the app. However, we still need to do some initializations, so we will have something like new to-do app of, let's just give it the name to-do app. Yes, so we've got it working. We've encapsulated the creation of our app within this function, and we can create a lot of instances of different apps. So for example, we could go and say to-do app like this, and then we will have two Angular apps which are completely independent one of each other. However, this is not the point of this example. The point is that we created, and now we must also find a way to destroy it and recreate it when something is changed. In order to do that, we need a method for destroying this app. For this, we will create here a method called destroy. What will this destroy do? It will actually empty and then remove the element of the app. Unfortunately, there's no accepted way of destroying an AngularJS application, and this seems to be working just fine. We need also to export the destroy method publicly. So basically, if here I will say something like var to-do app equals new to-do app, and here I'll say to-do app dot destroy, the app will be destroyed. Now, we know how to create an app, we know how to destroy an app. What's left to do is, when a change event occurs, we need to destroy the app and then to reinitialize it. Let's see how this works. So, for example, I want to change some default items. Let's say I have name. You see, it appeared immediately. I want to delete this. No problem, it appeared immediately again. The application was reloaded itself. Okay, what about the template? I can go here and change something like this, but I won't see any changes. Why is that? The reason to-do app.html doesn't get modified is because we get the following error in fb-flo. It tells us resource with the following URL is not on the page. So, of course, this is not on the page because it's been loaded by Ajax. And one way we could overcome this issue would be to stop the flow server. And here we could say something like, hey, if file path contains an HTML extension, for example, it's a template or it has the form of the templates, then file path should be immediately to-do app.js. So basically, in case any of our templates have been changed, just consider it just like a change in to-do app.js, because it will reload them automatically. Let's restart the server, let's refresh here, and let's try to see what happens when we change this. Resources updated, so we can write even here stuff and it will update automatically. So we've fixed our HTML editing, we've fixed our application initialization, so basically here we can do everything real time and it would work fine. Now let's see how easy it is to develop in a real-time fashion. Let's start by making some small changes to the app. First of all, let's say we want to have checkboxes next to each item. We can have something like input type checkbox ng model item.done. Let's put a certain style for the ones which are done. So we would have to go here and say something like ng style get style for item, and we pass item, and here we can go and implement and if the item is done, we can return something like color and a very light gray, for example this. You see, it's very easy to work with live editing without actually refreshing your page. However, we have one issue here. If I want to make a small change, like change the text color to something else, the whole list will just disappear. Why? It's normal. The app gets reloaded. We should do something to ensure this doesn't happen. For this, we would need to have here something like two methods. For example, one of them should be getData, which should go on the app element, get its scope, and get its items. And another one called setData, again we have to get the scope, don't forget to put it on a scope apply, and here when we refresh our app, all we need to do is to do app get data before destroying, and after the reinitialization we could say to do app set data of the previous data. Let's see what happens now. We created a to-do item, and now we will change the color for the ones which are selected. Let's say should make it red. Okay, we got some errors. Let's see what happened. Indeed, we have a slight mistake here. We should have done scope.items equals new data. Let's refresh. Let's start making changes. You see? So now we can make changes. We can add as many to-dos as we want. We can uncheck it, of course. And we can change the color from here. You see it's reflected here, or again blue. You can go change stuff over here and all your data will be kept. So what we achieved so far is we created an app that's self-initializable. It has a class that does all the work for it, and you get access to it immediately. You got some functions that destroy the app, that get the data from the app and set the data from the app. These functions are basically used when a resource is being changed. So for example, you save the data, reload the app, and then reload the data. In this way, you won't lose anything. Even if you are in an app in which you have a very complex state, you can take the values of that state and save them somewhere and then reload them in the app once you reloaded it. This works fine even for very, very big AngularJS apps. Something else, the hack which I had to do so the HTML files could be live editable. I was saying if the HTML file has been updated, instead just consider it was to-do app.js, because the browser does not know of to-do app.html because it's not a resource of that page. It is just loaded through Ajax and the browser can't know about it. That's basically all about live editing AngularJS apps. This tutorial may apply for any other frameworks as long as you design your apps to be destroyable and reinitializable. If you do that and couple together with the fb-flo reload event, then you have complex live editing apps with any framework of your choice.